You were never just matter in motion, you were always meaning in formation. And yet, for most of your life, you've probably been told otherwise. You've been conditioned to see yourself as a fixed identity, a name on a license, a profession, a role in society, a product of your past, and a pawn of circumstance. You were taught that reality is something happening outside you, and your job is to adapt, to survive, to conform. But what if that entire paradigm is backwards? What if, instead of being a passenger, you're the navigator? What if reality is not something that happens to you, but something that arises from you, molded by the frequencies you carry, shaped by the expectations you hold, and animated by the story you tell yourself when no one's listening? This isn't about wishful thinking. This is about conscious awakening. You are not an object in a world of solid facts. You are a dynamic wave in a sea of possibility. Quantum physics has shown us that the act of observation influences the outcome of an experiment. But what does that mean for your life? It means your perspective, your belief, your expectation, your presence interacts with the very fabric of what becomes real. And here's where the illusion begins to crack. Most people spend their lives trying to rearrange the outer world, thinking if they get the job, the partner, the house, then they'll feel whole, worthy, peaceful. But that's like adjusting the reflection in a mirror and hoping your face will change. Reality, like the mirror, reflects what you project. Where in your life are you still chasing something you don't believe you deserve? What dream have you placed on hold because the world told you it wasn't realistic? Pause for a moment. Breathe. Those beliefs were not born from truth. They were inherited, passed down by wounded generations, and reinforced by a culture addicted to scarcity. The truth is, you are not here to chase. You are here to align. You are not here to control the external. You are here to become so internally radiant that the external cannot help but bend in your favor. The quantum self is not a future identity you grow into. It is the truest version of you beneath all the noise. The part that remembers you are both wave and particle, both silence and song. So now the old question falls away. How do I make life work for me? Instead, a new question rises like the dawn. Who must I become to see the world as it really is? And when you begin to see the world differently, it's not because the world changed, it's because you did. Energy flows where attention goes. You've probably heard that phrase before, but have you really let it sink in? What you focus on is what grows, not just in terms of thoughts, but in terms of energy. Every emotion you feel is a frequency. Every thought is a current. And together they emit a field that communicates with the quantum realm far beyond what you can perceive with your five senses. Now pause here. Not to understand this scientifically, but to feel it. Think back to a moment when you were deeply anxious, scared, or unworthy. You might have walked into a room and felt like you didn't belong. And somehow, without saying a word, people responded to that energy. They didn't see your resume or your intentions. They saw your frequency. They felt it. The quantum field, the invisible matrix where all potential realities exist, does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you are. And who you are is most strongly defined not by your words, but by your inner state. Are you vibrating in self-doubt or self-trust? Are you swimming in fear or flowing in faith? The field picks up your signal and matches it with corresponding possibilities. This is not just spiritual poetry, it's energetic law. In physics, coherent waves create constructive interference. They amplify each other. The same happens in your life. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned in a coherent state, your energy becomes magnetic. Not metaphorically, literally. You begin to notice synchronicities. A stranger mentions the exact book you needed. An unexpected opportunity shows up. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. That's your internal state informing external conditions. But here's the catch. If your desires are born from lack, fear, or proving your worth, then no matter how many vision boards you create, you're still transmitting scarcity. So ask yourself gently, what is the emotional signature behind what I want? Is it rooted in love, joy, expansion? Or is it secretly driven by fear, comparison, or a need to fix myself? The quantum self doesn't chase to feel enough. It radiates from enoughness. It doesn't grasp for love. It becomes love. You don't manifest by manipulating outcomes. You manifest by embodying the vibration of what you wish to experience. In other words, when your energy matches the reality you desire, the path between here and there collapses. This is why deep inner work isn't just therapeutic, it's magnetic. Healing your emotional wounds doesn't just make you feel better. It clears the static in your signal. It removes the contradiction in your frequency. Because no matter what you say you want, the energy behind your wanting is what the universe responds to. So where in your life are you holding a desire that contradicts your inner story? Where are you affirming abundance while still believing you'll be abandoned? Be honest. Because the moment you become aware, you begin to reclaim power. There's an ancient wisdom here, hidden in plain sight. The kingdom is within, and not because it's a poetic metaphor, but because the internal world always becomes the blueprint of the external. So if you want to change, the signal life is reflecting back at you, you must change the broadcast within. There's a moment in every awakening where you realize you're no longer just reacting to life. You're responding to it with presence. That shift, subtle as it may seem, is the birthplace of conscious creation. You stop being a puppet of your past and begin becoming the author of your now. And it all starts when you become the observer. The observer is not detached indifference. It is sacred clarity. It's that stillness within you that notices the thoughts without becoming them, that hears the fear without obeying it, that senses the emotion without drowning in it. It is your original awareness, the part of you untouched by trauma or titles. And when you access this seat of presence, you enter the dimension where transformation is not only possible, it is inevitable. In the quantum world, potential realities exist as probabilities. They are waves of possibility, waiting to collapse into form. What collapses them? Observation, intention, awareness. So when you pause, breathe, and become aware of your internal state without judgment, you are already beginning to collapse old timelines and activate new ones. You are no longer a passive node in reality. You're a creative force within it. This explains why people often repeat patterns. They aren't cursed or broken, they're simply unaware. They are reacting from the same emotional signature, unconsciously reactivating the same frequency and drawing the same experiences again and again. But the moment you see the pattern, you're no longer inside it. You are watching it. And in that moment of observation, a window opens. A new path becomes possible. Take something simple. A conversation that triggers you. Maybe someone questions your worth, your choices, your path. In the past, you'd react, defend, explain, withdraw. But now, as the observer, you recognize the energy before the story. You notice the tightness in your chest, the heat rising, the old wound whispering, "You're not good enough." And instead of obeying that story, you breathe. You stay present, you reflect. This doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful. Because in that pause, you've changed the script. You've turned a conditioned reflex into a conscious response. And that tiny moment, that one breath, is how new timelines begin. Where in your life are you still running the same emotional loop, expecting a different outcome? Where can you begin to interrupt the program? Not with shame, but with curiosity. Presence is not about perfection. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about noticing what's real before the mind translates it into fear. It's about choosing again, each time from a deeper center. And as you practice this, something profound begins to unfold. You start witnessing serendipity. You feel more spacious. People tell you you've changed, but they can't quite name how. That's because you're no longer projecting the same identity onto the screen of life. You've become the observer, and in doing so, the creator. You cannot change what you are fused with, but you can change anything you're willing to witness without judgment. So begin there. Become the gentle watcher of your own life, because the moment you witness with awareness, you reclaim the brush, and the canvas begins to shift. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. That sentence lands differently once you've experienced both the ache of longing and the peace of embodiment. So many of us have been taught to want from a place of absence, to envision from a wound. We set goals not from love but from shame. We try to manifest abundance to silence the echo of lack. We seek validation to hush the voice that says we're not enough. But the universe isn't listening to your words. It's listening to your essence. Imagine frequency like perfume. You could tell everyone you smell like roses, but if your energy carries the scent of fear, people will flinch before they even know why. They will respond to the signal beneath the surface. The world, like a tuning fork, vibrates back in harmony with what you're broadcasting. So how do you shift the frequency? You don't just think new thoughts, you feel new truths. You embody new worthiness. At the core of most misalignment is the belief, I don't deserve this. That belief doesn't just sit in your mind, it lives in your nervous system. It's encoded in how you speak, how you walk into a room, how you receive compliments or opportunities. You might not say it out loud, but your energy does. And the quantum field never misses a signal. That's why transformation is less about doing and more about becoming. If you're tired of chasing love, become someone who believes they are lovable. If you're tired of trying to earn your place, become someone who feels safe belonging, not because the world has confirmed it, but because your frequency affirms it. So pause, inhale, ask yourself, where in my life am I still trying to deserve what's already mine? Where do I withhold from myself the very thing I freely give to others? Healing doesn't mean fixing what's broken. It means remembering what was always whole. It means releasing the layers of conditioning that told you had to strive, prove, hustle, or shrink. The quantum self doesn't perform for worth, it rests in it. And the paradox is this: the moment you stop needing to be worthy is the moment you realize you've always been. It's not confidence that manifests your dreams, it's congruence. When your inner knowing aligns with your outer energy, you become the invitation for what once seemed impossible. So next time you set an intention, don't just ask, what do I want? Ask, who do I have to be to live as if it's already done? Let that question anchor you. Let it recalibrate you. Because receiving isn't something you earn, it's something you allow. And the frequency of allowing is rooted in self-trust. It's the knowing that you are no longer trying to force life to love you. You are loving yourself so fully that life has no choice but to mirror that back. Real change isn't a future event, it's a frequency shift now. The world trains you to delay your power, to place your transformation on the other side of some achievement. When you get the job, meet the person, heal the past, or earn the success. But the quantum self doesn't live on a timeline. It lives in the now. And the now is where all creation begins. If the quantum field responds to who you are being, then the most powerful thing you can do is embody your truth before the evidence appears. That's the leap. That's the rewiring. It's not pretending or faking, it's rehearsing a new frequency until it becomes familiar. Because familiarity, not logic, is what the nervous system trusts. And once you feel safe embodying that higher state, the external naturally rearranges to reflect it. So how do you live from your quantum self? Not by striving, but by remembering. You remember through daily choices. You remember through aligned rituals. Every morning, you tune your energy before you touch your phone. You bless your body before you criticize it. You speak to yourself not as a problem to fix, but as a presence to honor. These are not just habits, they are broadcasts. Your energy is not separate from your calendar. How you pour your coffee, enter a room, or say your name, these are all moments of manifestation. And when you bring consciousness to the ordinary, you invite the extraordinary. This is the sacred art of calibration. It's not about forcing positivity or suppressing truth. It's about asking yourself in every moment, what frequency am I feeding? When you feel fear rising, you pause, breathe, and choose compassion. When doubt creeps in, you anchor back to your center. Not to override the emotion, but to remind yourself you are more than it. This daily attunement builds something far more powerful than blind optimism. It builds energetic integrity. And energetic integrity is what makes you a clear channel for quantum creation. So ask yourself, what is one choice I can make today that affirms the future I claim to believe in? Maybe it's how you walk into the meeting. Maybe it's how you speak to your partner. Maybe it's how you finally rest, not as laziness, but as a declaration of trust. The quantum self doesn't need to predict the path. It just needs to embody the state. Because from that state, the next steps become obvious, not as instructions from your mind, but as impulses from your soul. Your life doesn't change when you collect more knowledge. It changes when your body believes what your mind has known all along. And that's the final secret. Integration. Not thinking differently. Being differently. Not manifesting from urgency. Manifesting from wholeness. Not chasing your future self. Becoming it. So here you are, standing at the edge of a deeper knowing. The space between who you've been and who you're here to become. Not because you need to be more. Not because life demands your perfection. But because something inside you remembers. You were never small, and your story was never meant to end in limitation. You are an energetic being, vibrating in a quantum field of infinite potential, and your reality is not a punishment, it's a projection. When you begin to honor your thoughts, your emotions, your presence, not as noise, but as information, you start sculpting your life from the inside out. And in that shift, everything changes. Not all at once. Not in fireworks, but moment by moment, breath by breath, as your frequency starts telling a different story. You are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to harmonize with your own wholeness. So the question remains, what truth are you finally ready to live from? If this reflection stirred something in you, share it with someone who needs it. Leave a comment, subscribe for more, and begin the most sacred experiment of your life. Living as if you already are what you've been searching for. Because you are.